is something like 26 trillion, right? Inconceivable numbers, right? They're like 26 trillion dollars in debt, rather more, to the Chinese people, which are buying them bonds. So you say you understand the stock market. The Chinese bankers have been buying those what we know as treasury bonds. That's how your money comes into existence, right? And where you gonna find 26 trillion from? From benefits cuts? You ain't gonna find 26 trillion from benefits cuts, right? And you better believe the British economy is in exactly the same state.
Well, they say money is root of all evil.
Exactly, the money is root of all evil, but money is a defense. So you gotta have some kind of money. Otherwise, you will cease to exist. But this is about bringing out the truth. Just like how you receive the truth now. Hope, I don't know. All right. Just like how you got that now, right? That's what this program is about. Telling you your future, whether you're gonna be the group that's gonna go into slavery or the group that's gonna receive the salvation. That's not my decision. All right. That all goes back from the foundation of the earth, or whether you descend from the 12 tribes of Israel, right, which are now known as the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. If you're a descendant of one of those people, the Most High may have it to where you receive mercy. If you're not a descendant of those people, you're going into slavery, right? Because the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans have been in slavery underneath the Moabites, which are known as the Chinese today, the Ammonites, which are known as the Japanese today, right? The so-called white people, which are known as the Edomites within the scriptures, and they're the ones that are going to receive the most hell, right? Because they put the most hell upon the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. Right? See, the Most High is a just balance, man. All right? He says unjust weight, and unjust weight is wicked. Yeah? Unjust weight with the Most High is unbalanced, man. He doesn't like it. Hey, when you go into the book of Thessalonians, the 1st chapter on the 6th verse, right? It says, knowing this that it is a righteous thing with the Most High to avenge them, right? That trouble thee. Right? Weren't the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans troubled by the so-called white people? So the Most High is going to avenge them, man. Right? You got these superhero films that are all out there. Really, that's what the Lord is. Look, the Lord is a great superhero, but he ain't coming to save everybody. Right? Because that would be an unjust way. To save someone's going to have to be destroyed. That's the balance of it.
The thing is, does he exist?
What do you mean, does he exist? That's like saying, does the air exist? Just because you don't see it doesn't mean you don't breathe it. Right, the scripture speaks about faith. Right? Has anybody seen him? Moses saw him, right? And then when the Israelites wanted to see him, right, the minute he stepped in, you don't believe me this. You don't want to see God, man. You don't want to see God. You definitely don't want to see his son, right? Which you know is Jesus, right? And you definitely don't want to see his father, which you know as God, man. Because those are terrible powers, man. Those are terrible powers. Don't you know the 12 tribes of Israel when they were walking through the wilderness, they wanted to see him, and he didn't even show them, but they fell into submission, man. They were under fear, man. You do not want to see God, man. Right? When the celestial beings, just the angels, not even Jesus, but just the angels, when they came into existence, when they manifested, man, right? When people saw them, man, great fear fell upon them. So you don't want to see them, man. All right. Getting back into the scriptures, man. Right, this is back in the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, and the 8th verse. It says, "Behold, the eyes of the Lord power upon the simple." And touching on that point, man, you got a lot of people that want to say, "Oh, I want to see the Lord," and on all of that, man. Believe me, man, you don't want to see him, man. Doth not the scripture say something to the effect of? Man, it's slipping me right now. Something like, something to the effect of, man, to be in fear when you're in the hands of the Lord or in the hands of the living power. It's a grateful thing. It's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power, man. Right? So some people, when they've just beheld just the celestial beings, fell into man. You had it to where all kind of great men within the scriptures have seen all kind of celestial beings, and they all kind of getting all kind of revelations and that, right? And they fell into submission. You're talking about you want to see the living power, man. But I don't even want to see him, man. All right, I've done too much fuckery before I came into this truth. I don't want. Yeah, look, man. You know that's my power. All right, you know, but you're gonna come a certain way. Otherwise, you're gonna come across in the wrong way, man. All right. you can get fucked up. Right, this is back in the scriptures. This is Amos, the 9th chapter, on the 8th verse. It says, "Behold, the eyes of the Lord power upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving utterly I will not destroy the house of Jacob." So the Most High ultimately ain't going to destroy the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. He's going to have mercy upon the elect, right? Upon the elect, right? Starting off with the house of GMS, the elect within the house of GMS, because not everybody, just because they say that GMS is of GMS, man. That's just like how it says in the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, maybe about the 9th verse. In fact, I'll bring it out, man. I'll bring it out. Right, it's the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, and the 5th verse. It says, "Who is fathers, and of whom concerning the flesh Christ came," right? Who is over all. It says, "The Most High be blessed forever, amen." Not as though the word of the Most High have taken none effect, for they are not all of Israel that are of Israel, right? So not all of Israel is gonna make it like that, man. Not all of them is gonna. You ain't just because you're Israelite you're gonna make it, but ultimately, just like how it says in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, in the 1st verse, ultimately the Most High is gonna have mercy upon all of Israel, right? Through the process of reincarnation, they're gonna come back in the right state of mind, right, on the other side, man. When we get onto the other side of this, really when we establish our own society, right, after this society is destroyed, and that's what you're reading, that's what you're hearing, right, from the book of Amos, the 9th chapter. Now, getting back onto the point, which I started off in the book of Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter, right, let me start finishing that off. It says, "For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations." So the elect that is scattered throughout the four corners, all right, they're gonna come looking in all shapes and forms. Some gonna look like Moabites, some gonna look like Ammonites, some gonna look like Edomites, man. All right, but the Most High said He's gonna sift them, right? He's gonna sift the elect, all right. He's gonna sift the elect, but you niggas, man, you're gonna be left out there, man. All right, when you go into the book of, man, I think it's the book of Luke, maybe the 14th chapter. It says, "Those mine enemies which would not that I should reign over them, bring them hither and slay them before me." Right? And who's the enemy to the Lord? Principally the people starting off with the heathens, man. But really, if you don't follow this word, guess what, man? You're an enemy to this truth, man. Right? Don't forget the scripture says, "If they're not for me, then they're against me," man. Right? So you become an enemy of the Most High when you reject this truth, man. Right? Just like how it says in the book of Proverbs, the 1st chapter, and maybe around about the 10th verse in that, man, and you read on down in that, all right, it says the Most High has got it to where the men of the Lord, they come out and they bring out this truth in that, right? But it's Most High said he said the word has gone out, but you haven't taken none of that reproval, the advice. Therefore shall your calamity come upon you, and He's gonna laugh at your calamity, man. Right? He's gonna mock when your terror comes, all right? Because you become an enemy, right, to the truth, man. You become an enemy to the words of the Most High. You've laughed and scoffed at it, man. All right. It says, "For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel from among all nations like corn is sifted. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All sinners of my people shall die by the sword." Right. And that goes back into the point I was making, where it says, "Those my enemies, which would not that I will reign over them, bring them hither and slay them before me," man. So you become those are enemies. Those are enemies to the Most High right now, man. When they come back on the other side, they're gonna have their right mind, man. All right, and they're gonna be born perfect. Hell, you gonna love them niggas, because they ain't gonna be niggas then. They're gonna be brothers, man. All right, they're gonna be family, man. All right, and we're gonna be one strong unit, man. All right. It says "Sifted in the sea, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth, and no sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake us." And that's shall not prevent us. That's one of the biggest problems with you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, man. You're proud, therefore you think that the evil, right, which the evil day, right, is gonna be when this man's gonna be destroyed. You think that the evil day is not going to overtake you, but it's going to overtake you, man. Right? It's going to prevent you, man. You got all of these plans about doing this, that, and the third. And don't get me wrong, you might have a little plan here and there, right? A quote-unquote contingency plan. And I say quote-unquote because that's not supposed to be your end means, man. Your end means is supposed to be this word, man. Your focus, what you're into, all right? That's your bread and butter. That's what your survival is. But hey, you gotta get your, pay your bills and that, and so on and so forth. But I'm not gonna get too sidetracked by that. All right, because you got it to where Jake will have it to where you take one statement and go ham with it, man. Right, and go all overboard with it, man. All right. So it says here, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is floors fallen, and I'll close up the breaches thereof, right? And I will raise up his ruins, and I'll build it as in the days of old. So going back onto Zephaniah, the second chapter, it says, gather yourselves together, right, O nation not desired. That's the time we're in right now, when the Messiah is closing up the breaches thereof, right? The breaches that were between the house of Israel and the house of David when they were divided in the time of Jeroboam and Rehoboam, right? Which were the two sons of King Solomon, all right? And you had it to where the Messiah put it in within the spirit of King Solomon, right, to go off by way of those women, all right? But that was all to split the kingdom, to have it to where one, really for the Messiah's plan to pop off, man. Right? The kingdom got split. All right, the Latin-speaking tribes went off into the Americas first to live there for a certain amount of time, hundreds of years, right? And then the northern tribe came in, and that was the Lord closing the breaches thereof, man. They had it to where they were in close proximity. Now you got it to where you got Jake intermingling with the Latin tribes and so on and so forth, and the Latin tribes intermingling with the so-called Jake tribes, the Judah, man. And that's the Lord, closing the breaches. That's when the Lord was starting to close up the breaches thereof. But ultimately, it comes down to this truth, right? Where you got it to where you got camps all over the world. We're all kind of Israelites, man. From the Latin-speaking tribes, right? The Spanish-speaking tribes, right up on down to Judah himself, man. Right? And that was part of what it says here within the scriptures, man. Come, gather yourselves together, O nation, right? Not desired, man. All right? Let me jump on to the next thing. This is going to be in the book of Joel, the second chapter and the first verse on down. Right? See, that's ultimately that's Esau's biggest fear, man. That's one of Esau's biggest fears. You Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans joining together forces and realizing you're one and the same people. All right? And then ultimately, man, he knows his kingdom is done after that, man. All right? Because the word was going to come out and reach four corners of the earth, and that's when the end was going to come. But by the way, the word reaching the four corners of the earth, guess what, man? The nations were going to rise, man. Right? The nation of Israel, Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans were going to rise. Right? They're going to realize, realize that this man's the enemy. Right? And the only way this man can be taken down is by way of the power of the Most High. Right? And us as a people turning back onto the Most High, man. All right? And this is the book of Joel, the second chapter, and the first verse on down. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm, right, in my holy mountain. All right? So you're supposed to blow a trumpet in Zion. How'd you go about blowing a trumpet in Zion? This is the book of Ezekiel, bread and butter scriptures. Right, it's Ezekiel, right? The 9th chapter on the 4th verse, it says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, right? Just like how you have the elders out there, right? The brothers out the different camps out there, they go through the midst of the city, all right? Go through the midst of the city, right? Go through the midst of Jerusalem and set up a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry. So set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry. Why are they going to be sighing and crying? We're going to the book of Amos, the 9th chapter and the 8th verse, right? For all the abominations that's done in the kingdom here, of which the angels are the living power, right, are recording everything that's happening. All the wickedness that this man's doing, hey, every time that you have the camp and you got people looking down and so on and so forth, the Most High is recording that. All right, and you got like the scripture says, man. It's gonna come a time when every man's gonna have to make account for all the words that he said, man, or everything that he's done against this truth, man. You're gonna have to make account. You're gonna have to make retribution for that, man. You're gonna have to earn earn your just due, man. All right. It says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the men that sigh and cry for the abominations that be done in the midst of it. Okay? Right, it says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the midst of the city and smite. So after all is said and done, right, after you had it to where the men of the Lord was going to come out here, all right, and teach, hey, wake up the elect ultimately. Right, after that said and done, the Most High had it to where they were going to go out there and smite, man. Right, when you read in the scriptures, right, it talks about you're going to have fishes of men. Right now we're fishing, right, man. Right, we got the net, we cast the net out, and we bring back forth, good and bad, man. But the Most High selects what's good and takes it in, like the scripture says, make yourself an acceptable sacrifice unto the Most High. Right, and that which is ungood, man. That's not that wherever the Most High doesn't desire, man, He throws it right back out, man. All right, and that's the times that it's speaking about here, where you're gonna have it to where, right? They're gonna go through the midst of the city, right? They're gonna smite, man. It says, hey, go ye after him in the city and smite. Right, let not your eyes spare, neither have pity. So when the Most High have it to where, when the Most High has it to where we gonna smite, man, you ain't gonna have no pity, right? And he said, and it goes on to elaborate. They slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children. So women, little kids, and little children. And when you go into the book of Isaiah, in fact, I'm gonna bring that out. That's a beaut, man. It's Isaiah the 13th chapter. Right? Ultimately, this is talking about Esau, all right? But I'm going to start at the 15th verse. It says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them. Who's going to be joined unto them? You Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. You're going to be joined unto this man by way of you trusting in his monetary system, by way of the RFID chip, right? Because you have all of them social security, what you call it, benefits. So you're going to be joined unto this man, but the scripture says all that they are joined unto him shall be thrust through, right? So you're gonna be destroyed just as with your master is being destroyed, because you chose this man to be a master, right? You're gonna be destroyed, all right? But even on the bigger scheme, all of these different countries that are joined unto Esau, right, they're going to be thrust through as well, man. So you got it to where England's got allegiance with America. Guess what? When America's being destroyed, you better believe it. England's gonna get something, man. You're gonna catch a little missile here and there. All right. It says there, man. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword, man. And what's the modern day sword? That's those ICBMs, all right. You got it to where all of these different Middle Eastern countries are developing their intercontinental ballistic missiles and all of that, man. All right, what do you think they're gonna be doing with that? They're gonna put it in a museum and say these are the missiles that we had before we signed this deal of never, shooting these. No, they're gonna use those, man. All right, they're gonna have it to where they're gonna think they're not gonna press those buttons, but in that time of war, man, the Most High's gonna have it to where all those nukes is gonna go out. Right, especially with the ones that are coming from Russia, China, Iran, and so on and so forth, man. They're gonna be hitting them America. They're gonna be hitting America, man. They're gonna be hitting them American states, man. All right, but they're gonna focus their attention on the main military bases that they know of. But because they don't know where all of the secret hubs is, they're gonna just have it to where they target main cities and all of that, and those main cities gonna have it to where everything, where all the whole country's gonna be wiped out. In fact, you read the end of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, and the 19th verse, it says, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It's just like how Sodom and Gomorrah was set up as a monument, right, for what not to do. America's gone one step even further, man. They've legalized what Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed for, man. They've made it. They put it into legislation, man. They had it to where you can do that, man. Right? It's legal for that, man. Right? So the Most High is gonna have to have it to where he sets up this example, this monument, and this monument is gonna have to be even bigger, man. All right? To where you got it to here. It says it shall never be inhabited, neither dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch the tent there, neither shall the shepherd make their fold there, but the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures and owls, and they shall dwell there for satires, and shall dance there. Right? And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry there in the desolate houses, and her time is coming, her days shall not be prolonged. All right. So, you know, if you use your spiritual eye to understand that and perceive that, all you're gonna do is remember what post-apocalyptic films are, and that's what it's speaking about there, man. Right? You got, you know, some buildings kind of left half destroyed and half kind of really getting ready to fall on the grass. The weeds are growing all over the place. That's exactly how America's gonna be left, man. That's exactly what you're gonna see in that day. You got the only thing that's gonna be there is them wild desert creatures, man. All right. Back in the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, on the 1st verse, it says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Right, let all the inhabitants tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, and it is nigh at hand, man." So the day of the Lord is coming, man. It's close to hand, man. All right, the scripture says the day of the Lord's gonna come as a thief in the night. In fact, I'll bring that out, man. It's in the book of 2 Peter. So I ain't put this out in a minute too. All right. The book of 2 Peter. Now I'll read the main points in this, because this is a good one too. All right. So the book of 2 Peter is the 3rd chapter, starting from the 5th verse. It says, "For they willingly ignorant." All right. How are you willingly ignorant? YouTube. You got no elders.